Okay, so moving right along, let's talk about getting the software up and running. I personally purchased Massive with the Complete bundle, Complete 8, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Maybe 3 years ago. So that came with physical discs, and I loaded them all up onto my computer that way. But I'll walk you through this demo version. So I have here the email that Native Instruments sent to me, and I'm going to click my download link. And then down here, my demo is downloading. Okay, now it's done downloading. And this is, in Chrome, this is basically a shortcut to your downloads folder, so you can find that there. And here's my installer. And I'm going to double click the box. Okay, so it found on my computer the more recent paid version, so it's not letting me continue the demo installation. But you, on the other hand, will continue through the installer, and then once it's all done, it will be in your applications folder. Once it is all here and ready to go, we're going to start getting it set up. So I'm going to open the application, and Massive is able to run as a standalone software, which is what I'm doing right now. It can also function within a digital audio workstation, or DAW or DAW. And we'll talk more about that in a moment, but first let's deal with Massive as a standalone. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is to set up your audio and MIDI settings. So we're going to go up here to File folder, and choose Audio and MIDI settings like this. Since I'm running a Mac, Core Audio is my only option for a driver. If you're running this on Windows, you're going to select the ASIO driver for this. Massive recommends keeping the sample rate at 44,100. That's sort of a standard sample rate. And then you can drag down this latency depending on the power of your CPU. So basically, if if you have a really super awesome computer, you can drag this latency down, to 32 samples. If you're running a little bit slower of a machine, you can keep it up high. Massive recommends getting this overall latency to about 10 milliseconds. So for me, on my machine, we're about here. Okay. Now in the routing tab, you just need to make sure that this is set up for your outputs. I'm just running it straight out of my computer. So this is what I'm going to use. If you have a little bit more complicated of an outboard setup, then you probably already know how to do your routing. And then in the MIDI tab, right now I have my Mbox plugged in, so it's recognizing it, but I'm not using it to control the synth. If you have a MIDI keyboard, which I have the Akai MPK 49 MIDI keyboard, that's going to show up here, and then you'll just click on that and make sure that the status is set to on for your MIDI keyboard. Okay, so that is your audio MIDI setup, and you can click OK. Now you can also use Massive within a host DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation, as I mentioned. I use Logic Pro. Maybe use Ableton or Cubase or FL Studio or Pro Tools. I use Logic. That's not really going to make much of a difference in this course for you, but I'll show you how to get it set up with Logic, and it's pretty similar in the other host DAWs. Okay, so I'm going to create a software instrument just to start it up, and then in Logic, down here in the blue box, which is your instrument, I'm going to go down to Audio Unit Instruments, and then over here I have all my options: Native Instruments, Massive, and you'll find it right there. And now we've got Massive loaded up. And so that is how you can use Massive in a host digital audio workstation. Or once again, we still have this here. It's loaded up as a standalone. So you don't have to worry too much about the host DAW for this course, as I mentioned, because we're just dealing with the software as it is. Okay. If you do not have a MIDI keyboard, don't fret, because you can use your computer keyboard to trigger notes in Massive. Z through / operates a set of white keys, and then above it, S through semicolon operates the black keys, so you can walk up the scale. Like that. Okay, so don't worry if you don't have a MIDI keyboard. I do highly recommend one because it will make you more musical, but if you don't have one, you can still get along just fine. So now you have Massive all set up and installed on your computer. You have your audio and MIDI settings taken care of, and now you know how to use it within your host DAW. And let's move on to the next lecture.